Hello guys, welcome to part 12 of What If Minato Had Adopted Obito. First of all, and I say that this story doesn't belong to me, so if you want to read the full story for yourself, you can go down in the description to the find the link to the original post and read the full story for yourself. That being said, let's get into the video. What if Minato had adopted Obito part 12? Minato couldn't believe his eyes. Kakashi's corpse right in front of him. He had Obito repeat the story half a dozen times before all of it sank in. Not only his team, but also the Leaf was heartbroken at the loss. Kakashi was one of their prodigies, truly something amazing. Losing him was something one thought would happen so soon. The most upset were the Uchihas, but not because of Kakashi's death. The Mongekyo Sharingan was the stuff of legends, and the fact that Obito wouldn't let them study it or tell them how he activated it was infuriating to them. Kakashi's funeral was three days away, leaving his entry team to appear as he had no other family, leaving his entire family to prepare as he had no other family. Team Minato was really its own family now, as none of them had any other blood relatives. Obito left his clan. Kushina was destroyed. Minato was an orphan, and Rin had no living relatives left. They were all on one little family, and they would stick together through all of this. Rin had been very nervous about Obito's eyes and was Kushina and Minato. When they heard about it, Obito-kun, I saw your eyes bleed. You aren't scared about that? You aren't scared about that? Obito nodded. We don't know about anything about the Mongekyo Sharingan. We don't even know know had you activated it yet. We don't you don't even know had you activated it yet. Someone should look it and see if they can figure anything out. Obito rolled his eyes. Oh, who do you know that we can trust to do that? Minato knew exactly who. Jiraiya Sensei in town, and Tsunade owes him a favor. Tsunade owes him a favor. Kushina smiled a bit at Jiraiya's name. He hated the old pervert at first, but once they got to know him, and he was a good guy and with a few flaws. After a while, you couldn't help but like the man. Tsunade owes Jiraiya a favor, and he hasn't tried to use in some perverted way. Oh, Tsunade owes him a favor. Jiraiya. Perverted way. Minato scratched the back of his head. Well, he has, but Tsunade said he didn't owe him that much. I will see if I can get the sensei to get her to take a look at Obito. Obito had to admit it was a good idea. Fine, I guess it will be for the best. Rin was relieved. Obito was gonna get his eyes checked out by the finest medic ninja in the world to boot. The whole team was breathing a little easier. That Jiraiya groaned, but I was gonna use that favor for something kinky. Minato gave him a yeah right look. Jiraiya said, yeah right look. Jiraiya Sensei, see, Jiraiya Sensei, you know that was never gonna happen. Besides, you owe me for getting away from that mob of angry women last month. Owe me for getting away from that mob of angry women last month. Jorah looked off into space. Oh yeah, that was some good research I got that day. Minato nodded. So you will get her? Zuriah sighed, fine, but it will probably gonna take a more than just a favor to get her here. I am probably gonna have to pay off her gambling debt too. Minato grinned, and I thank you for doing that. Juriah scratched his chin. Well, lucky for you. See, she's in a gambling town not far from here. I will have her here the funeral. Minato winked at the mention of the funeral. Yeah, that's not gonna be a fun day. Jiraiya looked sympathetically at his student. I'm sorry, kid. I really don't want to tell ya. I promise I will be there. I really don't want to tell ya. I promise I will be there. Minato started walking back home. Thanks, that means a lot. Jiraiya walked, watched his students leave. He didn't envy what Minato was going through. He didn't envy what Minato was going through. The 3 days to Kakashi's funeral passed by very quickly. Everyone found themselves training harder than ever to try to keep their minds off things. Obito still wouldn't use his Mongekyo Sharingan at the request of his friends, but he did discover that he could activate his normal Sharingan without activating the Mongekyo version. When the day finally came, everyone dressed in the traditional black attire and headed to the memorial stone. A new stone was dug out for Kakashi, whose coffin was set next to the hole. Rin and Kushina were the first to cry at that sight. So they dug up Kakashi's grave, and Kushina and Rin were the first one to cry. Obito and Minato didn't show it, but they were fighting back tears as well. The rest of the graduating class was there as well, along with several Minato's friends who came to support him. Jiraiya put a hand on Minato's shoulder and gave him a consoling. They all chatted quietly until the Hokage appeared. Everyone grew silent, and the Hokage cleared his throat. Hello, everyone. If you would sit down, we will begin. They all did just that, and the Hokage sighed. As always, we will start with somewhat from his friends. I believe Minato requested to go first. Minato looked down, took a deep breath, and stood up. He walked up to the front and looked out at the crowd. Kakashi Hatake was my student. He had more raw talent than any student I have ever seen. At first he lacked teamwork, but before long he became a true team. Kakashi, Obito, and Rin grew closer every day. It was my honor to teach the 3 of them. He was a fantastic ninja and a good person. I will never forget him. There was some applause, and Obito looked at Rin. Do you want to go up together? Rin wiped her eyes and nodded. Yeah, let's go. They held hands and walked up in front of everyone. Rin spoke. When I first met Kakashi, I was really like every other girl in my class. I thought that he was one dreamy loner who I could save him. When I first met Kakashi, I was like every other girl in my class. I thought that he was some dreamy loner who I could save him. Of course, I was wrong. He never needed saving to begin with. He just needed someone to show him that even after his father's death, he wasn't alone. Goodbye, Kakashi. Rin was choked up by the end, so Obito started. Kakashi was my best friend and my rival. For as long as I can remember, I have been competing with him, and for one thing or another, looked like he beat me in the race to the grave too. Kakashi's last word were to thank me and the others for making him happy, but he didn't need to thank me. It was my honor. It was the one thing I could do that he couldn't to get him to open up. Thank you, Kakashi. Thanks to Kakashi for everything. They all went and sat back down. They continued as Kakashi was buried. Many tears were shed, and the day came to an end. A new name had been added to the memorial stone. So Kakashi, the main character of the original story, is dead. God damn. That day after the funeral, Tsunade came to Minato's to take a look at Obito with her assistant Shizune. She wasn't happy to be back in the leaf and was trying to get out as soon as possible. You are Obito. Obito nodded. Well, then get the hell over here and let's get this over with. Tsunade pulled some scrolls out from her bag and read them over, then put a hand over Obito's eyes. Obito activated his Mongekyo Sharingan and the Tsunade placed her glowing green hand over on the eyes. After a few moments, he murmured to herself and wrote something down and gave the scroll to Shizune. Looks like my grandfather's notes were right. Obito didn't understand. Your grandfather's note? Tsunade showed him the scroll she had been reading. Minato told me that you have been using my grandfather's process to study your bloodline. Well, my grandfather took down some notes on the Sharingan when he was doing his own research about wood release. Obito was curious, and he found out Tsunade was writing down her scroll again. The Mongekyo Sharingan is incomplete. He noticed Madara started to go blind after he activated his because he didn't know about the effects. I am not going to go into details as you wouldn't understand, but all you need to know is the longer you use the Mongekyo Sharingan, the more likely you are to go blind. The regular is just fine, but Mongekyo has more of a curse than advantage. Obito didn't like the sound of that. What about the black flames I used? Tsunade stopped writing and showed him a spot on the scroll. Amaterasu. It completely destroys everything it used on. One of the Mongekyo's most powerful attacks. I'm gonna guess you used it accidentally by forcing your killer intent on of the Mist Ninjas when you are having your Mongekyo activated. You have to be careful with your killer intent as it can set off your Amaterasu. Obito forwarded. So how did I activate it? Tsunade wasn't sure how to say that. Well, it's obtained by killing someone you have an extremely emotional attachment to. So when you killed Kakashi, it activated. Rin didn't like the idea of Obito going blind. Is there anything he can do to avoid going blind? Tsunade forwarded. Other than using it as little as possible, my grandfather and Madara theorized that by transferring one set of Mongekyo Sharingan to another, you can avoid going blind altogether due to the reasons that again are too complicated to go into. Obito cringed at that. Sounds like I will just avoid using it. Tsunade packed her things. Great, we all understand what's happened. Now if you will excuse me, Shizune, I need to get going. Shizune looked less excited, but of course agreed. Yes, like Tsunade. After they left the building and Rin turned to her friends, I will be right back. I want to ask her something. They all nodded and Rin ran out to meet Tsunade. She yelled after her, Lady Tsunade, hold on. Tsunade growled, What? What do you want? What do you want? Rin ran up to her. Lady Tsunade, I need your help with something. Tsunade rolled her eyes. Yeah, I figured that much. Shizune looked at her mentor. No need to be to be rude. Rin looked at Tsunade with determined eyes. I have lost my parents and one of my closest friends in the same week. For what I understand, you had a similar situation with your brother and lover. I don't want to just sit around and feel sorry for myself. I want to get stronger, Lady Tsunade. I need you to be my sensei. Tsunade laughed. You got God's kid, but Shizune is my last student. There's nothing you can say to change my mind. Rin kept staring. No. Tsunade raised her eyebrow. Excuse me? Rin was baking down. I said, no, you are going to be my sensei. I am not losing anyone else. You have gone through a lot. I know you know how much pain losing someone is. There's nothing you can say to change my mind either. Tsunade Tsunade forwarded. You wanna bet? Rin smirked. You always lose your bet. Tsunade couldn't keep a straight face. She smirked right back at the girl. Well played. I have heard you are a prodigy with medical ninjutsu. Tell you what. If you wanna learn a medical ninjutsu of my choose, by the end of my choose, by the end of the week, I will stay and train you. If you don't, I leave. Rin shook her head. Deal. Get ready to find your old place because you are staying here. Get ready to find your old place because you are staying here. Tsunade walked. Well, see, Miss Nohara. We will see. I will have a jutsu chosen by tomorrow. See you then. Shizune was grinning from ear to ear. She ran up to Rin. I am rooting for you. If you win this, Lady Tsunade will finally stay in the leaf again. Tsunade yelled back to her assistant. Shizune, let's get moving. I got boost rings and money to blow. Shizune waved goodbye and ran off, calming Lady Tsunade. She had gotten Tsunade to give her a chance. She wasn't going to waste this. She was going to get this jutsu completed, and she would get Tsunade to stay. For Obito's sake, for all of our friends' sake, she would become one of the greatest medical ninjas that the world ever seen. Her friends would be safe, as she would make sure of that. That's all for part 12. If you wanna be notified for part 13, then the best way is by subscribing. That being said, I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.